Welcome to This Month in Warhammer Underworlds for January 2021. This is your one-stop shop for everything Warhammer Underworlds related, and once again there's been a lot of news for our favourite competitive arena miniatures combat game. As always, each news item has its own timestamp, which can be found in the episode description below. Also, please remember to like and subscribe, as your support keeps this channel going. Without further ado, let's get on to the news. As I reported in the December episode, Games Workshop released an updated roadmap for Warhammer Underworlds Direchasm. Due to delays in shipping, all the releases have been pushed back a bit. Khagra's Ravagers were pushed back to a February release, the Starblood Stalkers in March, and the Crimson Court for April, then 2 Warbands in May, and then 1 for June. While official announcement of this was great, as there was a lot of confusion going around with the release dates, I would have liked the double release in May to be spaced out a bit more. To be fair, both of those Warbands in May could be released at the same time, but we'll have to wait and see. Either way, it's good news to be communicated to us. During Games Workshop's The Dead and the Divine Twitch livestream, they revealed what the third Direchasm Warband was, the Crimson Court. This entirely vampire warband represents the Soulblight faction from Age of Sigmar. It's a 4-fighter warband containing Prince Duval, Gorath the Enforcer, Vela von Fane, and Anias Curseborn. I can't put my finger on it, but Gorath is just my favourite for some reason. He just looks so firm and muscular with a strong grip. Anyway, glimpses of Prince Duval's fighter card shows he has an ability called Bloodthirst, which he gains when he has 3 or more hunger counters, and prevents him from going on guard. While bloodthirsted, his Possessed Blade goes to -1 attack dice, but to +1 damage. He also has an ability called the Curse, which at the start of the round gives either him or the entire warband 1 hunger counter each. It's not entirely clear, but it shows that the Crimson Court will heavily focus around the hunger mechanic, which shouldn't really be a surprise as, well, they're vampires. Lovers of vampire pirates will be disappointed, but that was a stretch in itself. I like the look of the warband. Each vampire seems to be a callback to the von Carsteins, namely Vlad, Manfred, Isabella, and Conrad. The first Visions of Glory article dropped for Warhammer Underworlds. This new series of articles is designed to show what's coming ahead in the future of our game. For the first article, the Starblood Stalkers were revealed. The warband consists of a skink priest called Kizitaka, 3 skinks, a chameleon skink, and a saurus. The warband was shown to have Asteras and Faction Gambit cards, which look like they mirror the Wormus Bat Cycle Gambit cards in terms of keyword naming. The warband, or at least Kizitaka, seemed to inspire after an activation if holding 3 or more objectives. This may or may not be easy, but we'll need to see the whole warband first. Kizitaka also has an Apple of Eden from the Assassin's Creed games, which allows him to flip a feature token as an action while in enemy territory, then dealing 1 damage to an enemy fighter within 1 hex of that token. It's nice, but he has only 3 wounds, even with 2 dodge. As someone who has been waiting forever for the Seraphon to make their way into the Underworlds, even going so far as to make my own skink warband, this pleases me greatly. I've waited so long, almost as long as I've waited for Slaanesh. Direchasm continues to grant me my deepest desires, which I've long wanted for this game. Warhammer Underworlds Online had a very busy month in January. First, Steel Sky Productions released another roadmap for the game. While vague in its details, I'm fine with this, as it's very hard to stick to fixed dates at this time, and we still have an idea of what's coming out. Notable things include Stormside's Cursebreakers, and 2 more new warbands which could be Beastgrave warbands from hints from the developers. We also get, emotes. Well, they're better than nothing. Although I will send love hearts to my opponents every time I roll a crit. This is the way. Warhammer Underworlds Online also announced a pricing restructure for the game. This sees the base game go down to £7.99, but reducing the warbands you get from 6 to 2. You get Steelheart's Champions and Magor's Fiends, with all previous other warbands moving to DLC. If you wanted to buy the 4 warbands you normally got with the game, which would be Iron Skull's Boys, Spikeclaw Swarm, the Sepulchral Guard, and the Fast Riders, it will now cost you £27.95 compared to £23.99. While I get the reasoning for this, it's not a good move. Sure, the barrier for entry has lowered, but so has the amount of choice on offer too. The game's monthly player stats have been really bad, with December averaging on 14 players and 12 for January. I don't see how this will encourage a massive influx of new players. A free-to-play model would have been much more appealing, but I assume the work needed to implement that along with possible limitations from their Games Workshop license, may have prevented that. Still, pricing alone is not the main issue with the game. It still comes down to a lack of content, low player count, low card pool, and huge difficulty spikes for new players, while having not really any offline content. I would have loved to have seen more universal cards instead, along with a spectator mode for tournaments and streaming, so the game could be better shown off to everyone. For Podcast Corner in January 2021, Path to Glory kicked things off with 2 new episodes. The first focuses on Direchasm deck strategies, an early deep dive into the brand new mechanics, and deck archetypes for you to get your brains around with the launch of the new season, along with which warbands help to support each the best. Next is their episode interviewing Daniel, who won the January Vassal Clash, talking about his decision-making processes and what he did in order to win the tournament. Battle for Salvation returns with their own look at the Dread Pageant and the Direchasm Universal cards, featuring their deck lists and matchup ratings. January also sees the return of What the Hex, after a mini hiatus, with their review of the Warhammer Underworlds Direchasm core set. I also returned to podcasting again with Critcast Episode 7 running tournaments and events. In this episode, I talk with the King of Canada, Derek, talking about his experiences running the Canadian Grand Clash, and then we go over all our tips and advice as TOs as to how you can run your own tournaments for Warhammer Underworlds. Critcast is also now on Spotify too, so I'm now on even more platforms for your audio pleasure. Tournaments for January saw the Straight Outta Shadespire Webcam tournament continue with its monthly schedule of 4 best-of-1 rounds. The player named RG won with his use of Myari's Purifiers. The next tournament is due on the first week of February, and sign-up details can be found in the episode description below. The Vassal Clash returned with an impressive pool of 51 players. After 2 days of best-of-3 format games, Daniel and his Myari's Purifiers proved to be triumphant, surprising many with a superb win. Daniel has been playing for a number of years now, travelling internationally to Grand Clashes. He does really well in his local scene of the Czech Republic, and his win is really amazing considering his young age too. It's a great achievement. The next Vassal Clash will be in February and will be skirmish format, with details about how you can join and play in the episode description below. For my own content for January was a fairly quiet month for me, partly because of work stuff. I dropped my December news content for Warhammer Underworlds, along with my 7th episode for Critcast. I also dropped my Khagra's Ravagers Warband review. While the Warband was up for pre-order in January, it is released in February, which is why I'm not covering it in this January episode. Still, my in-depth review has all you need to know for the new Warband, from tactics, card reviews, and example deck lists, which can all be found in the episode description below. January 2021 was a little messed up due to global delays, but we were still treated to a deluge of news, previews, and new content. Khagra's Ravagers even technically dropped in January too, at least for early access reviewers. While the release schedule has been pushed back, we have a far more concrete idea of what's coming ahead, thanks to Games Workshop's updates. Before I go, feel free to click my affiliate link to Element Games in the episode description. Any purchases you make after clicking through the link help support myself and the channel to help bring you high quality content along with being at no additional cost to yourself, while granting you a 15 to 25% discount on all things Warhammer and hobby related. The new year is now. The Direchasm is open wide, gaping, unleashing all its secrets for us. We've seen a glimpse of Khagra's Ravagers, and now we eagerly await the Starblood Stalkers. Skinks are the greatest. Some even understand the power of crits.